Pakora, as they used to do at the big coast, the Bears Pakora. We're going to have to take some Slabbers halal Pakora up and bright bread for them, mate. That's a wee road trip, would you reckon?
Well, are you coming northbound this? Never mind that, and I'll comment in a second. But are you coming northbound this weekend? Are you northbound in the city? Are you going to get a nosebleed and get a bus up the northbound? Do you want the number for the bus? It's a 60 and a 61. You can even get a 75 for Castlemilk. 75, you just get half it.
Oh, you outrageous, son. Yeah, I'm travelling with the Sons of Donegal. It's
shocking.
Hopefully I'm down there. The bus is leaving sharpish, so
I'm getting a welcoming party. What time's it in it? I'll have a welcoming party there for you.
You'll smell the Chanel cologne and the crisp Stone Island clothing when you arrive.
I'll just have to put my Twitter on. I've got more Sons of Donegal followers and I've been following them. I've been picking them off recently. I've been going through I added about 100 followers, but through or maybe about 200, I don't know how many it was. So if anybody's joined us or thing, I've added them my followers, but I was picking off Sons of Donegals all over the place. I'm like, I'm just going down here. I've got more Son. I'm following more Sons of Donegal, so I'll just set my Twitter to fucking automatic find the Sons of Donegal, and that'll be me. I'll find them all.
But they're either there or in government police stations, but we'll leave that to another day. I'm only kidding on that one, if anybody's listening. Hopefully we took about 99 Easter Road on Saturday. No, hopefully, obviously, the big event that's been really well broadcast by, obviously, B. Tanner appeared in Celtic Dreams last Friday. I had a couple of messages very earlier on, and with the Celtic research guys, and things are really steaming in. So hopefully I'm going to get the train down to Queen's Park early on Sunday morning and get into Sainsbury's and get a couple of quid spent in the tin section, mate. And apart from the usual bags that go in that bus for games, hopefully there'll be a couple of wee bags of messages for the good folk at Mary Hill, mate. It's going to be a fantastic achievement, you know, and I know some people might look at it in a small minded angle where, you know, there's a lot of other food banks around the world even, you know. I found it quite ironic that the world's first ever food bank was in America.
Was it,
You made a new, I might be wrong here, there's two figures come into mind. I'm terrible with numbers. It was either formed in 1947 or 1974, but somebody with internet will be able to check that out. So no, really, I mean, as I say, it's just the positive stuff that people's putting into it, and you know, it's quite disheartening that obviously guys like yourself, you get people maybe know like the stuff you do and all that, Tommy, but you just do it as a putting.
Just do it, keep yourself out of trouble, I mean.
When folks get when folks get out the way and doing what all the food banks are doing or any sort of charity work, and to see people sort of they're at them a wee bit or being quite negative, it's really disappointing. But hopefully the positivity, everything going on with it, mate, is really, really good. So it's looking good tonight, and obviously next weekend Paul's got his book launch in the tin. You know, that's another thing. That book, it's number 3 in the football booksellers. When you look at it, behind Ferguson, who's obviously a world brand name in football, mate. You know, so it's all good, pal. The Celtic Graves event next Saturday as well. So, it's good, mate. But Sunday's going to be a good day, and then after the game, there's a wee down the Admiral Bar, and that's for the guys and girls going over with the Kibera Celts to help. In Africa to do obviously help pay towards their payments going over there, mate. So it's all good to do, mate. You know, it's all positive.
So you go down to the Admiral after the game then?
The bus is strapped as off, actually. We'll get up there and then the bus is going to trap as ours after it. So if you're about to pop in for a wee bellow birds, they've got live music on between 5 and 9. So there'll be a few rascals going, so that'll be good. It should be a good laugh, mate, you know.
Good stuff.
But the last thing, obviously, Twitter's went a bit after last year, was the last e-tans fair play when they had John Paul Taylor.
I've seen that earlier on.
So why that, you know, there seems to be quite a lot of that strategy over some things that's been announced. And
stay there before you back. Hold on to Crackle. Skype does my frupney bit, son. So it does. Fucking Skype. Sort it out, Skypey. Right, stay there. My parrot's back. Just a 10 seconds delay. Nothing major. Sorry, you're saying E-Tims, yeah, they had... is the podcast been out there yet?
Yeah, they had John Paul Taylor on, you know, and it's great that John Paul's given up his time, and it's good to see that Celtic's dipping their nose more into fan-led social media, you know. And I know, I mean, that there was certain points highlighted tonight in Tim's thing is Stone, like the old London Road police, should have been a police station probably, but the London Road schools getting demolished within the next 2 weeks.
Is it, aye?
Aye, so that's gone, and there's a few other things about they're going to be trying to get the catering a bit more like they've got at the Kerrydale bar and the food and the drinks sort of thing. But there seems to be the main point was somebody retweeted Tim's onto my timeline, and I sent him a question just answering, why is it deemed fit that a Celtic fan at a game can be arrested for allegedly singing a song, whereas people were seen in the flesh ripping up seats and vandalising my stadium, and they're just walking out the door. And it's no disrespect to anybody, right? And I know the police have got a job to do, and I know the stewards who somebody fantastically tweeted today on Twitter, these people are on probably minimum wage, 0-hour contracts, so they're not going to do a Kevin Costner jump in front of a plastic seat to take one for the teammate. That's not what they fucking hell. Tony Blair's bodyguards get fined 20 times for half the work, mate, But my point
can you tell me, Parrot, do you know how, if any of the Ajax were jailed?
Well, there was a few Ajax fans arrested over incidents that happened in the Central Station and the Greater area, respectively. But to the best of my knowledge, there were no arrests in the ground, and the Police Scotland are sharing information, video footage, audio, whatever, however they monitor these things with the Netherlands police. But I think I've seen Tim saying also that. Those Ajax fans went to Celtic Park who were actually banned from Ajax's own stadium. So we look at the culture. We're a part of Europe. I've got boys I used to work with who were English fans, English Premier League fans at the time. Their team's no longer in the Premiership. And these guys had football banning orders, which basically meant that they had to go down to a police station and hand in their passport whenever their respective club team or whenever their national team, being England, were playing abroad, so that their respective football intelligence officer knew where they were and they couldn't get anywhere. So for me, it's quite disappointing the fact that the Dutch, they're liberal folk, but they are quite disciplined in these matters, have allowed these people to travel to Scotland and do it about me. I know Celtic fans are tied in certain aspects, but
listen, Parrot, I encountered about 20 of them on a bus outside Celtic Park, and they were going into the town, and they were just boys, mate. I mean, they were not one of them had a shave amongst them, mate, and they were just youngsters, mate. And I don't know, mate. I mean, was it disturbances? But I mean, that's naughty stuff, smacking a Celtic fan with a bottle and attacking Celtic fans. Was there report? I know it was reported, but was there any evidence of them mingling with a Mankey mob at any point?
Well, I believe, there are pictures on Twitter that showed people wearing scarves of teams that don't exist anymore, and the old end they used to stand in at Celtic Park. I mean, I find it quite ironic. We're called the obsessed ones, but none of us turned up when the new team at Ibrox play against these fights with Celtic scarves on. It's.
Oh, here, by the way, I must have to say, I went on a mad adding spree for a good, as I said earlier on. I was coming across Donegal, Sons of Donegal. I was taking note. I was going through adding them. I was taking note of all the ones, and I got to a few, and then I realised at the time this was going back, I think, a couple of weeks, and there was a few of our Blue Nose friends who had added me. I remember the calls. It was those calls. Remember those calls about a week ago when I first came back, and so a few of them had added me, but I hadn't deleted them. But the night I went through and I added a whole load, and then I saw one that was there, and I went and blocked him. But one escaped it, right? And I'm putting a shout out to him now, right? His name is Baz, and I'm putting a shout out to him, right? Because I gave him a follow inadvertently, and he says, "Thanks for the follow, mate. I have to say, as a Blue Nose, I'm a fan of your show. Haha." So I'm putting a shout out to Baz, the Blue Nose Bear. If you want, give us a call. If you can't phone 0141, then phone 0131 and it's 618-2345. So thanks to Blue Nose Baz. It was an inadvertent follow that I gave you, but since you said thank you, then I'm not going to block you. I'm going to keep you on there, and I welcome you to join the show at any time, because I'm a non-sectarian crackpot and a parrot. Crack on, bro. You vouch for me.
Oh, yeah. Aye, of course I will, mate. No, I'm just, for the first time ever, probably in the last 3 months, I've got STV on, only for the fact that the Dunfermline by-elections on. I'm hoping to see... I've actually got a Scottish Tory in my telly, you know. That's like unicorn shit seeing one in the rain cap, wasn't it, you know? On that note, obviously I didn't make the game the other night, but Crew were fantastic. But hats stuck to the Green Brigade boys in last season. People 1-1-1 for the lovely respect to George Ryan. God bless his soul, the Labour councillor for the East End, and you know, lovely wee touch room with the displays it put out from, you know. As I say, I was in the same room as him as I gave my statement after the Kettling incident. So I know, fair play to the lads, you know. People's quick enough. Don't get me wrong, I suppose I'll be a cheerleader for them, but God bless her. That was a lovely wee touch, mate, you know. And I know Celtic sent flowers, etc., and were probably represented, but so it's going to be interesting this morning to see if they say.
Yeah, but I walked past there.
Must be another page.
I walked past there, was it last week? I walked past last week, and I looked in and I seen her. And I seen all your old Post and Fleet mentions up there. They were outrageous. I had to put Green Brigade stickers on them. No, but she was standing there, and then I looked in, and I read that the next day, and I thought, fucking hell, I might be getting a chap on the door here, because I did look for a bit more than 2 seconds, so I thought, I'm fucking well jailed. I mean, it must have been about 2.9 seconds I was there. I mean, I think if I went for more than the recommended 3 second stare, I would have been well fucked, mate, but I think I might have escaped that parrot.
It's amazing how life's changed, Tommy. I mean, a lot of my family lived in North London back in the 70s and 80s, and that, I mean, London was a holiday to me. You know, we used to go down for a week or whatever in the summer holidays. And I remember the height of the Troubles, you know, when the IRA, etc., were running riot and the Iranian embassy stuff was going on. I remember you used to be able to walk down 10 Downing Street and get your picture taken outside it. And this was at 11 o'clock at night, and there was like one London body there. You know, a guy just standing there, no flat vest, no sidearm or anything like that. And you look at the way it is now that, you know, like a Scottish MSP, you're not allowed to stand outside the door, mate, and it's so bizarre. And you look at Grangemouth, you know, we've went from a nation who produced, you know, world class shipping to now basically we're reduced to some crook who's got a ship called the Hampshire 2. I tweeted a picture of it earlier on, you know. Massive. And I was wondering if he's going to sail up the River Forth in his yacht to give all these poor folk at Grangemouth their P45 mates, you know. I mean, the Proclaimers starting that Poppy Fest campaign. They should be redoing.
Shocking, really, mate, what's happened there. It used to be a plant run by BP. Used to be BP owned, so it used to be state owned, mate. It's I've not really looked into a lot of the ins and outs of the stuff at the background, but I think it's a scam that has been perpetrated there, because if they're trying to claim money, and look how the unions have capitulated now, but I wouldn't surprise me if this bastard comes back and demands even more now he's got them under a barrel. We could come back and fucking demand even more for them. Or probably